Carl Jung's Synchronicity, Meaningful Patterns in Life. Synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see. Carl Jung. Have you ever noticed a perfect coincidence, like thinking of someone just before they call, or spotting the same symbol or number over and over again? These moments aren't accidents. They may be signs of a deeper order trying to communicate with you. In today's video, from Spiritual Wisdom, we'll dive into Carl Jung's groundbreaking concept of synchronicity, the mysterious way life reveals meaningful patterns that guide us toward inner growth and higher awareness. As you watch, ask yourself, what hidden messages might the universe be sending you? If you've ever experienced these strange yet powerful alignments, share your story in the comments below. We'd love to hear it. Let's explore how recognizing synchronicity can open the door to personal transformation and a more spiritually attuned life. 1. Collective unconscious and quantum connection. Carl Jung believed that human beings are deeply connected not only to each other, but to a shared, invisible layer of consciousness he called the collective unconscious. This vast field is not a product of personal experience alone. It is a storehouse of ancient memories, archetypes, and patterns that shape how we think, dream, and even experience the world around us. When you feel an unexplainable pull toward a symbol, a person, or a situation, it may be because that connection is being activated not from your conscious mind, but from something much deeper, something inherited, collective, and profoundly real. What makes Jung's theory so fascinating is how closely it mirrors discoveries in modern quantum physics. In particular, the observer effect, the idea that observing a quantum event can actually influence its outcome, suggests that consciousness isn't just a passive witness to reality, but an active participant. Jung saw this not as a coincidence, but as confirmation that our inner world and the outer universe are intertwined. Through what he called synchronicity, we begin to witness events in the outer world that mirror our inner states, events that seem random on the surface but carry profound, often spiritual significance. These synchronicities are not just charming oddities. They are energetic alignments between our inner reality and the unfolding universe. Imagine thinking of someone you haven't spoken to in years, only to receive a message from them that very day. Or feeling lost in life and suddenly encountering a book, a song, or a stranger's words that speak directly to your heart. These are not coincidences to be dismissed. According to Jung, they are evidence that we are living within a meaningful and intelligent system, one that speaks to us through symbols, patterns, and timing. This is where spiritual wisdom comes into play. The ability to perceive these moments not as random, but as invitations to awaken. There is a spiritual art to noticing. Synchronicities rarely arrive with fanfare. They are subtle, almost whisper-like. But once we begin to pay attention, the frequency of these meaningful patterns increases. It's as if life starts speaking a language we were always meant to understand. The more you trust it, the more it unfolds. It's not about superstition or magical thinking. It's about tuning in to an intelligence that works beneath the surface, often unnoticed by the rational mind. Take, for instance, a young man who feels unfulfilled at work but can't explain why. One day, while scrolling mindlessly online, he stumbles across a video that speaks directly to his inner frustration. That same week, a stranger at a cafe begins talking about making bold career changes. Then, his childhood friend calls to ask if he wants to collaborate on a passion project they once dreamed about. Each event might seem isolated, but together, they form a coherent pattern that reflects his shifting internal energy. The outer world begins to mirror the truth he has not yet fully acknowledged. Jung's insight was that these patterns are not random. They are meaningful coincidences, guided by an invisible thread connecting the personal psyche to the collective unconscious. And quantum theory offers a bridge that makes these experiences more than just metaphors. The reality we live in may be far more interactive than we've ever imagined. When we observe, we influence. When we feel deeply, we shift outcomes. Our awareness is not separate from the world, it is shaping it. To walk with this understanding is to walk with reverence. It's to recognize that your emotions, your thoughts, your quiet longings, they matter. They don't just echo in your mind. They ripple through a field of energy that responds with alignment. Spiritual wisdom teaches us that when we live from this space of presence and awareness, life doesn't just happen to us, it responds to us. That response often comes in the form of synchronicities, waiting for us to notice and follow their trail. Through the lens of Jung and quantum connection, we begin to see that the universe is not silent. It's alive, intelligent, and deeply invested in our growth. Synchronicities are not interruptions in the flow. They are the flow revealing itself. If you believe that your mind is more than just a receiver, and that your thoughts can shape the world around you, comment below. I align with the collective field. Let's explore the mystery of synchronicity and the quantum mind together. 2. Jung's awakening and inner vision, a childhood of mystery and premonition. Carl Jung was no stranger to the mysteries of the mind. As a child, he experienced powerful visions that left him unsettled and deeply curious. While other children played and lived in the comfort of the known world, Jung found himself haunted by strange inner images. Waves of blood crashing over cities, widespread destruction, and a deep sense of something ominous approaching. These visions were not fleeting nightmares. They returned with increasing intensity, disturbing him so much that he feared he might be going mad. Then, war broke out. World War I erupted, and Jung suddenly realized what those terrifying visions had foretold. What he had seen was not delusion, it was premonition. For the first time, he understood that his inner experiences were not symptoms of mental illness, but signals from a deeper, universal realm of the psyche. He called it the collective unconscious, a vast, hidden reservoir of images, archetypes, and knowledge shared by all of humanity. These weren't personal dreams. They were messages from something much greater, something timeless and deeply interconnected. This realization transformed the course of his life. Jung began to explore the layers of the unconscious mind with the rigor of a scientist and the reverence of a mystic. He believed the human psyche was not just a personal container of thoughts and memories. It was a gateway to spiritual truth, symbolic language, and meaningful coincidences that could reshape our understanding of reality itself. One of Jung's most profound contributions to psychology was the concept of synchronicity, the idea that certain events are connected not by cause and effect, but by meaning. These are the moments when the inner world and outer world align in ways that seem too perfect to be random. a dream that predicts an event, a book that falls off the shelf with the exact answer you needed, a chance encounter that changes your life. Modern life gives us countless examples of this. Mia, a marketing manager in her early 30s, began seeing the numbers 1111 everywhere on her phone, digital clocks, receipts. At first, she dismissed it as coincidence, but soon after, she began having vivid dreams about painting, a passion she had abandoned as a teenager. The signs kept coming, and the inner urge grew stronger. She picked up a brush again. Within months, she was exhibiting her art. Eventually, she left her corporate job to become a full-time painter. The numbers, the dreams weren't random. They were synchronistic breadcrumbs leading her back to her purpose. Carl Jung saw synchronicities as moments of deep alignment between our soul's truth and the flow of life. They bypass logic and speak the language of the unconscious symbol, feeling, instinct. To Jung, these moments weren't mystical fluff. They were psychological facts with spiritual significance. He believed that when we pay attention to them, we begin to live more consciously, more meaningfully, and in greater harmony with who we really are. Our culture often teaches us to dismiss the unseen, to ignore dreams, deny gut feelings, and chalk up patterns to coincidence. But Jung's life reminds us that wisdom often comes in subtle forms, that visions, no matter how strange, may carry truth, that patterns repeating in our lives may not be meaningless. They may be messages we're meant to receive. The psyche is not just reacting to the world, it's in dialogue with it. And the more we listen, the more we realize that life isn't just happening to us. It's responding to us, mirroring us, guiding us. This is the heart of Carl Jung's legacy. Not to fear what is mysterious, but to walk toward it, to treat dreams, synchronicities, and symbols not as illusions, but as invitations. Because somewhere beneath the noise of daily life, a deeper current is always flowing. And if we dare to follow it, it may just lead us home to ourselves. Have you ever had a dream or vision that felt like more than just imagination, like a message from something deeper? If so, share your story in the comments below. Let's learn from each other's inner experiences. If not, but you're open to exploring your own unconscious, comment, "I'm ready to see within," so we can begin this journey into the hidden realms of the psyche together. 3. Synchronicity and the unus mundus, the one unified reality. Carl Jung's concept of synchronicity reveals that life is not governed solely by logic or cause and effect, but by a deeper, invisible order. He believed that the inner world of thoughts, dreams, and emotions is intimately connected to the outer world of events, even when no clear causal link exists. This idea is rooted in the ancient notion of the unus mundus, a single unified reality from which both the psyche and the physical universe emerge. In this realm, time and space lose their grip, and meaning takes the lead. This is where synchronicity lives, in the subtle, poetic conversation between your soul and the unfolding of life. Jung saw synchronicity as more than just coincidence. It's the manifestation of a hidden pattern that connects your inner experiences with the outer world. Just like the alchemical saying, "As above, so below," synchronicities reflect a deeper order in which everything mirrors everything else. It's a moment when your soul's whisper is echoed by the world around you. These events often arrive when you're at a crossroads, seeking clarity or navigating uncertainty. Rather than pushing for answers, you become receptive, and that openness aligns you with something greater. The ancient Taoist symbol of yin and yang beautifully expresses this principle. Two seemingly opposite forces in perfect balance, complementing each other, not contradicting. Jung recognized that the same balance exists between your conscious thoughts and unconscious wisdom, between the visible and the invisible, between reason and intuition. When you experience synchronicity, it's often because both sides are finally aligned, and something previously hidden can now rise into awareness. These moments don't follow logic, they follow meaning. Think about the times when you were deeply pondering a personal decision, and life began to echo your thoughts in the most unexpected ways. You think of someone, and they call. You dream of water, and the next day it rains just as a major emotional breakthrough arrives. These are not accidents. These are messages, mirrors, confirmations that your inner state is resonating with a larger cosmic rhythm. This is not fantasy. It is a lived expression of spiritual wisdom, showing you that you are never as separate or alone as you think. Jung believed that when you begin to notice these meaningful coincidences, your awareness sharpens, your intuition strengthens, and your relationship with life shifts. You start living in a more symbolic world, where events don't just happen, they speak. You begin to trust the unfolding of things, even when it doesn't make sense. And in doing so, you unlock a deeper harmony between your soul and the greater whole. Life stops feeling random. It begins to feel alive, intelligent, interconnected. You stop chasing signs and begin listening for the truth. This deeper truth doesn't arrive through control, but through surrender. Synchronicities don't come when you force them. They arise when you're present enough to see them. When the ego softens and the inner world becomes quiet, the language of the universe becomes clear. It's not loud. It's not obvious. It's sacred, subtle, and deeply personal. And once you recognize that everything your thoughts, emotions, symbols, and external events are all flowing from the same source, you begin to walk through life differently. More open, more connected, more awake. Don't forget to subscribe for more spiritual wisdom that reveals the hidden order behind life's coincidences. If you believe everything is connected and nothing is random, this is your place to explore the deeper meaning behind it all. 4. Archetypes and the power of the unconscious. Carl Jung believed that archetypes' universal psychic patterns exist at the very core of the human psyche. These are not just symbolic images stored in the mind. They are powerful, timeless forces that shape the very fabric of our experiences, influencing how we dream, how we love, and how we make meaning out of chaos. Archetypes, like the hero, the shadow, the mother, and the wise old man, do not belong to any one culture or individual. They are ancient, collective, and embedded in our unconscious, silently guiding our decisions and reactions without us even realizing it. According to Jung, these archetypes are psychoid, meaning they exist between the inner and outer worlds, between mind and matter, between thought and event. Because they do not follow the laws of time or space, archetypes can show up in ways that feel eerie or prophetic. This explains why someone might dream about a future event before it happens, or feel an instant soul-level connection with a stranger. These experiences are not mere chance. They are deeply meaningful patterns of what Jung called synchronicities that arise when inner reality meets outer circumstance with uncanny precision. They signal that your unconscious is not only alive, but also engaged in a dynamic relationship with your life. It speaks through symbols, emotions, and intuitive insights, redirecting your path in subtle yet powerful ways. The unconscious, in Jung's view, is not passive or dormant. It has agency. It watches, remembers, and intervenes. It holds within it the seeds of your future and the keys to your healing. You may think you're in control, but often it is the unconscious that chooses what you notice, who you're drawn to, or when a crisis must erupt for your transformation to begin. As Jung famously warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. This is the turning point of spiritual awakening, when you realize that what happens to you is not random, but reflective. Spiritual awakening occurs when you begin to notice the hidden order in your life. It's the recognition that your recurring struggles, emotional triggers, or even chance encounters are not accidents, but invitations from the unconscious. They are messengers of truth, guiding you toward wholeness. In this light, even pain becomes sacred because it's a signal, not a punishment. It is calling you to look deeper, to decode the symbols, and to engage with the archetypes shaping your reality from beneath the surface. In this sacred process, you stop reacting blindly and start responding with awareness. You begin to track your dreams, listen to inner nudges, and pay attention to what stirs your soul. This is how the unconscious reveals its power through synchronicity, through archetypal resonance, and through moments that feel charged with purpose. When you honor these moments instead of brushing them off, something profound shifts. Your life stops feeling random and starts to feel aligned. This alignment marks the birth of spiritual wisdom and the deepening of your spiritual awakening. If this message awakens something deep within you, drop a comment below. I trust the wisdom of my unconscious. I'm guided by the archetypes within me. 5. Eastern influence, mandalas, and alchemy. Carl Jung's encounter with the secret of the golden flower, a Taoist text rich in Eastern spiritual insight, marked a turning point in his psychological exploration. To Jung, this wasn't merely ancient philosophy, it was a map of inner transformation. The book revealed a deep understanding of the psyche's journey toward balance, something Western psychology had only begun to grasp. What captured Jung's attention most was the mandala, a sacred symbol found throughout Eastern spiritual traditions. He didn't just admire its beauty, he saw it as the mind's attempt to restore inner order through imagery. In the mandala's symmetry, Jung found the self, a totality that includes both the conscious and unconscious mind. He believed that when people were psychologically fragmented or overwhelmed, the mandala emerged spontaneously, either in dreams or drawings, as a tool for integration. These circular patterns, often filled with repeating shapes and radiating energy, were more than art. They were healing structures. They allowed the psyche to visually represent what words could not, a state of centeredness, unity, and balance. Jung understood this as a symbol of the individuation process, the path toward becoming whole. And he didn't just theorize about it. He asked his patients to draw mandalas during their deepest moments of crisis, because through that act, a deeper intelligence within them could reveal itself. Carl Jung's spiritual wisdom also led him to rediscover alchemy, but not in the literal sense of turning base metals into gold. What fascinated him was the metaphor hidden in the ancient language of alchemists. They described a process of burning, dissolving, separating, purifying, and finally, reuniting, all of which mirrored the stages of human psychological growth. Jung saw alchemy as the bridge between science, psychology, and spirituality. It provided a symbolic system for transformation, one where suffering, confusion, and emotional chaos weren't obstacles to avoid, but stages in the sacred process of becoming. He realized that the alchemist's furnace was no different from the emotional heat people feel during breakdowns, heartaches, and life changes. In modern life, we go through these transformations all the time, though we may not have the language to describe them. A painful breakup, the loss of a job, a spiritual crisis. These are moments when the ego cracks and something deeper tries to emerge. Often, we resist, distract, or shut down. But if we allow ourselves to face the discomfort, a new self begins to form, wiser, softer, and more whole. Jung believed that within every collapse was the seed of new integration, just as the alchemist believed gold could emerge from what appeared worthless. He taught that our emotions, when honored and understood, are the flames that refine us. The mandala and alchemy both taught Jung one central truth: that the path to wholeness isn't linear. It's symbolic, mysterious, and deeply personal. The symbols that arise in our dreams, the repeated patterns we notice in life, the images we're drawn to in moments of stillness, they are not random. They are messages from the unconscious, guiding us back to our essence. Jung's genius was in trusting that what ancient wisdom had long known could still apply to the modern soul. He didn't separate science from spirit or logic from intuition. He knew the soul speaks in symbols, and to become whole, we must learn to listen. So when the chaos of life overwhelms you, when clarity seems far away, remember that transformation doesn't come through avoidance, it comes through alchemy. And when you feel scattered or broken, take a blank page and draw a circle. Let that shape center you, speak to you, remind you that even in disorder, the self is seeking harmony. This is not just Carl Jung's insight. It is an invitation to recognize the spiritual intelligence already moving within you. If Jung's journey through Eastern wisdom, mandalas, and alchemy resonates with you, take a deep breath and repeat after me. I am aligning with inner balance and divine transformation. This message has found me at the right time. 6. Real-life synchronicities. From personal events to supernatural phenomena, Carl Jung's life was filled with events that defied ordinary explanation. Moments so precise and uncanny, they could not be brushed aside as mere coincidence. In his work, he named this phenomenon synchronicity, a concept that reveals how meaningful coincidences, though lacking a clear cause and effect link, carry deep psychological and spiritual significance. One of the most startling examples came when Jung was working with a patient whose rigid rationalism resisted emotional healing. She shared a dream about a golden scarab, a symbol of rebirth. At that precise moment, a beetle resembling a scarab began tapping at the window. Jung caught it and handed it to her, breaking the walls of her skepticism. To him, this was no accident. It was a breakthrough orchestrated by a deeper intelligence, one that mirrors our inner world through the external. These events weren't isolated. Jung described many personal experiences that defied scientific logic. like the loud crack that split a wooden table in his home with no physical cause, or a bread knife that shattered into pieces without being touched. These weren't metaphors. They were actual physical manifestations tied to moments of intense emotion and psychic tension. Jung believed these incidents were the psyche's language ways the unconscious spoke through matter, bending what we perceive as solid reality to reveal something invisible. They emerged not from delusion, but from a deeper order in the universe that becomes more visible during periods of spiritual awakening. As one becomes more attuned to the symbolic nature of life, these disruptions serve as invitations, signals to pay attention, to align, to awaken. This mystical view put him at odds with Freud, who dismissed such phenomena as fantasy. Freud, ever the materialist, saw the unconscious as a vault of repressed desires and trauma. Jung, on the other hand, viewed it as sacred, an entry point to the collective unconscious, a realm where symbols, archetypes, and shared human experiences converge. Their philosophical split reflected more than differing theories. It revealed two fundamentally different ways of seeing reality. Jung stood alone in his conviction that the soul speaks in symbols, and that the world, when mirrored correctly, responds to the psyche in astonishing ways. And yet, you've likely felt this too, moments when reality bent slightly to meet your thoughts. You think of someone, and they text. You're lost, and the exact phrase you needed appears in a song, a book, a stranger's words. These are not accidents. They are moments of alignment. Synchronicity reveals that your inner world and outer world are not separate. They are dancing together, especially during times of transition, emotional upheaval, or spiritual awakening. When you start to notice these patterns, you begin to realize that life itself is not random. It's responsive. It listens. It reflects. Jung believed that synchronicities increase during psychological crises or transformation because the psyche is trying to compensate, to help you reorient. The invisible world speaks loudest when you are closest to truth. This is why many people undergoing a spiritual awakening experience a flood of signs, strange timings, and intuitive knowledge. The deeper you go into your own unconscious, the more the world around you begins to shimmer with messages. And this isn't about superstition. It's about understanding reality as symbolic and intelligent, structured in a way that supports your evolution. Einstein once said, "Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous." Jung took this seriously. For him, synchronicity was not only real, but sacred evidence that we live in a meaningful, connected universe where your journey is seen and mirrored back to you. The challenge is not whether these signs exist, but whether you are willing to notice, to listen, and to act. Because often, the sign you're waiting for isn't a thunderbolt. It's already here, tapping softly at your window. If Jung's real-life synchronicities spark something in you, don't hesitate to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever experienced something that defied logic? Let's explore these invisible forces together. Your story might inspire someone else. 7. How to recognize and use synchronicities for growth. Carl Jung believed that synchronicities are not mere coincidences, but powerful reflections of a deeper order at work in the universe. These events are not just surprising moments of chance. They are messages from the unconscious, nudges from the divine, guiding us toward our growth. He emphasized that with enough self-awareness, we can actively engage with these moments and uncover the spiritual wisdom they carry. Jung categorized synchronicities into 5 key types, each one aligning with a hermetic principle, reminding us that everything in the universe is connected and meaningful. Warning synchronicities are those quiet, often unsettling signs that alert us to an approaching crisis or misstep. A strange feeling of hesitation, a repeated dream, a symbolic image that unsettles your spirit, these are not to be ignored. Rooted in the principle of vibration, they remind us that everything is energy, and that the body and spirit often detect what the conscious mind cannot. Just as animals sense earthquakes before they strike, your deeper self vibrates with early knowledge. These synchronicities act like inner sirens, guiding you away from harm before it manifests. Then come confirmation synchronicities, those moments that reassure you that you are walking in alignment. You may think about pursuing a passion, and suddenly, that exact subject shows up in a podcast, a billboard, or a casual conversation. These are governed by the principle of correspondence. As within, so without. The outer world reflects your inner alignment. These are not just random affirmations. They are spiritual echoes, showing you that your energy is resonating clearly with the flow of life. Trusting these signs can boost your courage and keep you grounded on your path. Prophetic synchronicities reveal symbolic truths before they manifest. These are moments of deep vision, recurring dreams, strong intuitive impressions, or even conversations that seem to foreshadow what's to come. Linked to the principle of mentalism, they reveal how reality is shaped by mind and consciousness. These synchronicities often speak through symbols of water signaling emotional purification, fire representing rebirth, or birds symbolizing freedom. When you begin to observe the repeated appearance of a symbol, don't dismiss it. Your unconscious may be preparing you for a transformation. Manifestation, synchronicities occur when your inner work begins to ripple outward into the world. These align with the principle of cause and effect. If you've been working on self-love and start attracting respectful, nurturing people into your life, that's no accident. If you've been visualizing financial stability and suddenly receive a new opportunity or unexpected support, that's synchronicity in action. The universe responds to the energy you consistently emit. These signs are not rewards, they are reflections. Opportunity synchronicities arrive at the perfect moment when your preparation aligns with divine timing. Governed by the principles of polarity, rhythm, and gender, they appear when all polarities are in balance, cycles converge, and something new is ready to be birthed. Think of the person who has practiced music in solitude for years, only to be offered a life-changing performance opportunity by chance. That chance isn't random. It's rhythm. It's timing. It's readiness. These synchronicities call you forward and ask you to step fully into your purpose. In a world full of distractions, synchronicities are quiet whispers of alignment. They don't scream, they invite. Jung's spiritual wisdom teaches that if you slow down and pay attention, life will start to feel less chaotic and more coherent. The events you once labeled as coincidence begin to reveal a pattern, a rhythm, a deeper logic. By listening closely and moving with awareness, you come into relationship with the hidden intelligence guiding your life. And so, every warning, every sign of confirmation, every prophetic dream, every sudden opportunity, each is a sacred signal. Recognize them, honor them. They are the bridge between your conscious self and the unseen world that knows you better than you know yourself. This is not just spiritual awakening. This is remembering. To affirm your alignment with the universe's guidance, declare your awareness. Comment below. I trust the synchronicities to honor your path and encourage others to tune into the signs guiding their own spiritual growth. And so, as we journey through the mysterious dance of synchronicity, we begin to see that life is not a series of random events, but a tapestry woven with meaning, purpose, and spiritual connection. Carl Jung reminded us that these patterns are not coincidences, but signs, echoes of the soul, aligning with the greater universe. When you begin to pay attention, you'll realize that the universe has been speaking to you all along. If today's message resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. And be sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss the powerful insights we have coming your way. Until next time, stay open, stay aligned, and trust the signs. The Kybalion hides the laws that control reality. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Zen proverb. This ancient truth perfectly reflects the hidden power of the Kybalion, a book that reveals the invisible laws silently shaping our lives, thoughts, and reality itself. These principles aren't just mystical ideas. They are tools for transformation. If you've ever felt like there's more to life than what you've been told, then maybe, just maybe, you're ready to see what most people miss. As you watch, ask yourself, how would your life change if you truly understood how reality works beneath the surface? Comment below with your thoughts, and let's explore these sacred truths together. Welcome to Spiritual Wisdom, where ancient knowledge meets your personal awakening. 1. Everything is mind. The world you see isn't what it appears to be. What seems solid, fixed, and external is, at its core, a projection of something far more subtle, your mind. According to Hermetic wisdom, everything is mind. The entire universe is mental. This isn't a metaphor, it's a law. Reality itself begins not in atoms or matter, but in thought. What you feel, what you experience, what shows up in your life, all stem from your inner world, vibrating and unfolding as your personal reality. Your mind is not just a quiet observer sitting in the background. It is the source, the generator, the architect of everything. Every circumstance you face, every emotion you carry, every person you meet is connected to the vibration of your thoughts. You are not just moving through life, you are projecting it outward like a movie from the reel of your subconscious. Change the film, and you change the story. Alter your thoughts, and the entire screen of reality responds. This is the power hidden in plain sight. Most people think they're reacting to life when they're actually responding to the echo of their own beliefs. A chaotic mind manifests a chaotic world. A mind filled with fear attracts more reasons to fear. But a mind that is centered, aware, and aligned with truth begins to see clarity, peace, and synchronicity unfold. The mirror of reality never lies. It only reflects. Trying to fix the world while ignoring the mind is like wiping a mirror, hoping it changes your face. It doesn't work. The outer is simply the consequence of the inner. The Kybalion reminds us, the all is mind, the universe is mental. This is not a theory. It is the blueprint beneath all things. And when you understand it, you realize you are never truly stuck. The key to change isn't outside of you. It's always been within. Energy follows thought. Attention brings manifestation. The clearer and more intentional your inner world becomes, the more harmonious your outer world reflects it. You begin to attract relationships that mirror your growth, opportunities that match your frequency, and peace that doesn't depend on conditions. You stop waiting and start creating consciously, powerfully, and in alignment with the laws that govern the invisible. To master this law is to reclaim the authorship of your life. It doesn't require force, it requires awareness. You don't need to fight the shadows outside. You simply turn on the light within. And when your inner vibration shifts, the universe has no choice but to follow. Because everything is mind, and the mind is where all true power begins. If you're ready to take full responsibility for your reality and harness the true power of your mind, comment below, "I create my reality." And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. Your journey to conscious creation starts here. 2. The universe operates by invisible laws. Life isn't random. Everything you experience, your thoughts, emotions, circumstances unfolds according to 7 hermetic laws: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. These principles are not abstract theories. They are the invisible architecture of the universe. They operate on every level: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Whether or not you're conscious of them, they shape your reality every second of the day. The law of mentalism reveals that all is mind. Reality begins in thought. Everything you see around you was once an idea. The house you live in, the phone you use, even the life you're living at all started in the realm of mind. What you hold in your inner world, you project onto the outer world. If your thoughts are clouded by fear, lack, or self-doubt, your reality will echo those frequencies. But if you discipline your mind to dwell in clarity, truth, and intention, your life begins to shift in extraordinary ways. The law of correspondence teaches that the patterns in your inner world are mirrored in your outer world. As within, so without. When you're overwhelmed, anxious, or disconnected inside, your external life becomes chaotic, disordered, and full of friction. But when you center yourself through reflection, healing, or meditation, you begin to notice your environment responding to that harmony. The way people speak to you changes. Opportunities begin to open. Life becomes less of a struggle and more of a flow. The law of vibration reminds you that everything is energy. Nothing is still. Every object, every emotion, every thought vibrates at a specific frequency. Gratitude, love, joy. These emotions vibrate higher than fear, shame, or guilt. When you live in a low vibrational state, you attract more of the same. Raise your frequency, and you begin to magnetize people, experiences, and outcomes that reflect your elevated state. Polarity is the principle that everything has its opposite: light and darkness, peace and chaos, love and hate. They're not separate, but rather different degrees of the same thing. By understanding this, you stop labeling experiences as good or bad. Instead, you begin to transmute one into the other. You realize that heartbreak contains the seed of transformation, that fear can be turned into fuel. This is how you reclaim your power, not by resisting polarity, but by learning to work with it. The law of rhythm reveals that life moves in cycles. Just like the tides rise and fall, your energy, emotions, and circumstances follow patterns. There will be seasons of growth and seasons of stillness, moments of clarity and moments of confusion. But rhythm teaches you that no phase is permanent. You learn to trust the wave. You learn that downturns are not punishments, but setups for your next rise. Cause and effect states that nothing happens without a cause. Your current reality is the result of previous thoughts, decisions, and actions. There are no coincidences, only consequences. If you want to shift your life, you must shift your input. That means taking responsibility for what you think, say, do, and allow. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What am I creating?" The law of gender says that everything has both masculine and feminine principles. This isn't about gender roles. It's about the creative forces within you. The masculine initiates, directs, and acts. The feminine receives, nurtures, and brings forth. True balance comes when these energies work together. You stop chasing everything, and instead, you learn when to act and when to allow, when to speak and when to listen. These 7 laws are not ancient relics. They are the keys to a conscious life. When you align with them, you stop living by chance and start living by choice. Your mind becomes the architect, your emotions become signals, and your reality becomes a reflection of your inner mastery. This is how you break free, not by changing the world outside you, but by transforming the world within you. Are you ready to align with the hidden laws that shape your reality? If so, comment below. I live by universal law, to declare your commitment to conscious transformation. 3. Your inner world creates your outer world. What you think, feel, and believe doesn't stay locked inside you. It becomes the very frequency you radiate. And that frequency acts like a magnet, pulling toward you people, situations, and outcomes that match it. This is not fantasy. This is law. The Hermetic principle of correspondence teaches, as within, so without. Your inner world is not separate from your outer world. It is the blueprint. Every emotion you carry sends out a vibration. Gratitude hums at a high frequency, drawing in peace, abundance, and joy. Fear, resentment, and anxiety operate at a lower frequency, attracting delay, conflict, and limitation. Nothing in your life is random. Everything is vibrating your thoughts, your words, your beliefs, and each vibration becomes a cause that sets unseen forces into motion. This is where the law of cause and effect comes alive. Everything that appears in your life is the fruit of seeds planted sometimes recently, sometimes long ago. That moment you said, "I'll never be good enough," that quiet belief that love always leaves, that repeated inner voice saying money is hard, those thoughts are not just passing clouds, they are commands, and reality, as if obeying a silent script, begins to reflect them back. You may not see the link right away. A thought today might ripple into an event months later, but cause and effect is never broken. The universe is listening more to your energy than your words. So if your mouth says, "I want success," but your energy says, "I'm afraid of failure," you'll attract more delay than triumph. Cycles repeat because energy repeats, and energy repeats because thoughts are recycled. Unconscious fears, left unexamined, become self-fulfilling prophecies. Old beliefs become patterns. Patterns become identity, and identity becomes destiny unless interrupted. The interruption begins with awareness. When you become the observer of your mind instead of its prisoner, you regain choice. You can choose what you dwell on. You can elevate what you feel. You can plant new thoughts, ones that carry frequencies of expansion, courage, and love. And those frequencies will call back experiences aligned with them. You don't need to fix the outer world. You need to tune your inner one. If reality is a mirror, then your life isn't happening to you. It's happening through you. The seeds are in your hands, and the moment you change what you sow, what you reap must follow. Do you believe your inner world shapes your outer reality? If you do, declare it boldly in the comments. I align my thoughts with truth and power. Let the universe know you're ready to shift from within. 4. You are not your mind. You are the conscious observer. You are not your fears, your doubts, or the endless stream of thoughts racing through your head. You are not the internal monologue that criticizes, judges, compares, and worries. You are the one who sees all of this happening. You are the conscious observer, still awareness behind the noise. The moment you begin to recognize this is the moment you take your first step toward true power. You move from being trapped in unconscious reaction to consciously responding to life, from letting reality happen to you to shaping it from within. This is the foundation of all spiritual mastery, and it's the message buried deep within the Kybalion, a book that whispers the secret laws that control reality to those ready to listen. The Kybalion teaches that the all is mind. This means that everything you experience originates in consciousness. Your mind is not just a receiver of life, it is the projector. The world around you is a mirror reflecting the dominant frequency of your thoughts. Yet most people live in autopilot, believing every anxious thought, every limiting belief, as if it were the truth. They don't realize that their suffering isn't caused by external events, but by how their minds interpret those events. When you stop identifying with your mind and begin observing it, you unlock the power to shift your frequency and rewrite your experience of reality. This is not an abstract idea. It's a practical shift. Think of your thoughts as clouds passing through the sky. You are not the clouds. You are the sky. When a thought arises, I'm not good enough. This will never work. They don't love me. You don't have to believe it. You can pause, watch, and choose something higher. That space between the thought and your reaction is where transformation begins. It's the moment you go from being programmed to being present. The Hermetic laws, hidden in the Kybalion, remind us that the universe responds not to what we say, but to the vibration we carry. The law of vibration teaches that everything moves, everything vibrates, and the frequency you hold attracts experiences that match it. If your mind is spinning in fear and lack, that is what your life will reflect. But when you rise above those frequencies, when you observe your thoughts without becoming them, you begin to vibrate from a higher state: clarity, peace, and inner power. Mastery begins when you stop running from your mind and start mastering it. You realize that your thoughts are tools, not truths. They are patterns shaped by memory, culture, and past pain, but they are not you. The Kybalion says, to change your mood or mental state, change your vibration. This is more than just positive thinking. It's vibrational alignment. You start to choose the inner state you want to live from, rather than being dragged around by the chaos of untrained thoughts. The world doesn't need more people on autopilot. It needs awakened observers. People who can rise above the storm of the mind and consciously shape their lives from a place of awareness. You are that person. Not because of anything external, but because the moment you witness your mind instead of merging with it, you become sovereign. And in that sovereignty, everything changes. Stay connected to your true self by subscribing to our channel. Here, we explore the power of conscious awareness and support each other in breaking free from mental patterns, Remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the observer, capable of choosing peace, clarity, and purpose. 5. Life moves in rhythmic cycles. Progress isn't a straight road. It moves like a wave, rising and falling, always in motion. The Kabbalion teaches us through the law of rhythm that everything in existence follows cycles, up and down, inward and outward, expansion and contraction. Just like tides return to the shore, and just like seasons revolve from spring to winter and back again, your life also flows through predictable, energetic patterns. What you once saw as failure or repetition is actually part of a sacred spiral, a return not to the same place, but to a higher version of it. You don't face old wounds because you've regressed. You face them because now you are stronger. You're prepared to meet them with more wisdom, more maturity, more presence. Everything flows, out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall, the Kabbalion reminds us. This isn't just a quote from an old mystical text. It's a mirror reflecting your own journey. When things fall apart, when your energy dips, or your emotions resurface, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means the pendulum has swung, and it will swing back. Understanding this law allows you to stop panicking in the low moments and stop clinging in the high ones. You begin to trust the process, to respect the timing, to know that the low is not a punishment, it's preparation. It's part of the rhythm of expansion. Think of someone who worked hard to overcome anxiety therapy, meditation, personal growth, and finally felt free. Then one day, without warning, the anxiety returns. Most people would see this as failure, but if they understood the law of rhythm, they'd see it as a revisit with purpose. This new wave isn't here to destroy progress. It's here to test it, to deepen it, to strengthen roots that were already planted. The universe doesn't send us backward. It brings us inward. Every return is an invitation to heal at a higher octave. When you realize that rhythm governs your emotions, your relationships, even your opportunities, you stop trying to force linear progress. You begin to align with a deeper intelligence that already knows when to pull and when to release. You learn to move with grace, to rest without guilt, to rise without arrogance. The low points become sacred pauses. The highs become humble gifts. Nothing is wasted. Everything is part of the spiral that lifts you closer to your higher self. You don't grow by avoiding the cycles. You grow by mastering your presence inside them. Let go of the need to constantly climb. Instead, trust the wave. Let the rhythm teach you. Let the spiral carry you. Because once you do, you stop surviving life, you start flowing with it. If this message resonates with your soul, leave a comment of trust. I embrace the rhythm of life. I am growing through every season. Let this be your declaration as you rise, again and again, with greater wisdom each time. 6. Transformation is inner alchemy. You are not meant to destroy fear, sadness, or anger. These emotions are not enemies. They are energy, and energy doesn't die. It transforms. This is the art of inner alchemy, the sacred science of transmutation taught in Hermetic wisdom. When you feel anger, you're not supposed to suppress it or explode with it. Instead, you shift it. That energy, when elevated, becomes courage. Fear, when lifted to a higher frequency, becomes grounded presence. Sadness, when seen through the eyes of truth, becomes insight. This is not fantasy. This is vibration at work. Everything vibrates. Nothing is still. And when you understand this, You no longer need to fight your emotions. You simply change their frequency. Polarity tells us that opposites are the same in nature, only different in degree. Fear and faith are not enemies. They are ends of the same pole. The same is true for sadness and wisdom, for anger and strength, for doubt and clarity. Every negative state has a positive twin waiting to be revealed. You move between them not through force, but through awareness. The Kybalion says, to change your mood or mental state, change your vibration. You're not broken. You're just vibrating at a certain level. And vibration can always be raised. When a storm rises inside you, instead of trying to silence it, feel into it and listen. Ask what this emotion is trying to show you. Emotions are messengers, not problems. They carry encoded wisdom, and when you honor them, they evolve. This is the silent miracle of inner alchemy, turning emotional lead into spiritual gold. You begin to realize that transformation isn't about escaping your darkness. It's about holding your darkness in so much light that it melts into truth. This is why the Hermetic path is not about denial or suppression. It's about mastery. You become the alchemist of your own reality, the one who knows how to turn inner chaos into inner clarity. This is the secret hidden behind the ancient words. The laws that control reality don't exist outside of you. They operate within your thoughts, your choices, your emotional vibrations. So you don't need to wait for a new life. You don't need a miracle to come from outside. The miracle is already inside you, waiting to be activated through alignment with these laws. Once you understand that your inner state creates your outer experience, you stop being a victim of circumstance and become a creator of reality. And that's the power the world never taught you, because almost no one is ready for it. But now, you are. To affirm your commitment to the path of inner alchemy, declare your transformation. Comment below, I choose to transmute my energy, and let others be inspired by your journey of conscious elevation. 7. Real power comes from alignment, not control. You don't control the universe, you align with it. This is the foundation of all true power. The more you try to force, the more resistance you create. But the moment you let go of control and begin to harmonize with the natural rhythm of life, you enter into a state of alignment. Life is not a random series of events. It is a symbolic, intelligent dance filled with messages, mirrors, and meaning. Every moment carries guidance, and the universe is always speaking to those who have the awareness to listen. Living as an initiate means becoming fluent in this language. You stop reacting blindly, and instead, you start seeing the deeper patterns at play. When you begin aligning with the universal laws, synchronicity becomes normal. Doors open, people show up, ideas arrive with precision. You no longer chase life, it meets you where you are. That's not magic, that's alignment. The Kybalion teaches that, as above, so below, as within, so without. This isn't philosophy, it's mechanics. The outer world is a reflection of your inner state. You cannot create peace externally while hosting chaos internally. True transformation starts with vibrational alignment, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions are in harmony with truth, clarity, and purpose. The law of rhythm reminds us that everything flows. There are tides, seasons, and cycles in all things. You don't escape the low moments, but you stop fearing them. You realize the dip is part of the rise. The initiate knows that energy moves in waves, and instead of resisting the downswings, they learn to rest, reflect, and prepare for the return of momentum. This is where personal power matures not in domination, but in awareness. Not in forcing, but in trusting. Trying to control reality is like trying to sculpt the ocean with your bare hands. It slips away the harder you press. But when you align with universal laws, you begin to move with grace. Even modern science echoes this truth. Everything is energy. Frequency is reality. And frequency is shaped by your state of being, your emotions, your focus, your presence. That's why the universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. That's why control fails and alignment succeeds. You become magnetic, not by pushing, but by resonating. There comes a point when you realize that the universe isn't against you. It's waiting for you to attune to its rhythm. The initiate doesn't demand, they observe. They decode the signs. They respond with intention. They walk in sync with the deeper order. This is where real power lives, not in manipulation, but in knowing. Not in domination, but in attunement. Not in force, but in flow. If you're ready to stop forcing and start flowing, type in the comments, "I align with the universe." Let this be your declaration of inner power and harmony. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the hidden wisdom of the Kybalion, a book that doesn't just inform, but transforms. The laws it reveals aren't just theories. They are forces shaping your everyday reality, whether you recognize them or not. As you reflect on what you've heard, ask yourself, what unseen laws have been guiding your life? And more importantly, how will you begin to align with them consciously? If this awakens something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with someone ready to see beyond the surface, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom for more truth that empowers the soul. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss what's coming next, because reality only changes when you do.